Welcome, everybody. We're up to episode 6 today. I've got the lovely Jessie here with me with our Behind the Wheel podcast. Jessie is a exercise physiologist. She's been with us for the better part of coming up to 5 years now.
In
Has it been
next
that long?
week, it'll be 5 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, I haven't even checked our employment system, but
Good memory.
I know we've been working together and we've had you in the business for quite a little while now. You're part of the furniture, which is awesome to see. But Jessie, really excited to have you on, particularly with your tenure here at Gen Physio. Very passionate clinician in your own right, but also a passionate leader. You've done some great things by overseeing and supporting and leading our Sunshine Coast and Moreton Bay regions. I know now that you've moved into Moreton Bay due to growth and looking to help take that region and the team to another level there, which you've been doing, and no doubt you'll continue to smash it. But really happy to have you on the podcast today. How are you traveling? What's been going on in your life in the last week? You want to share with
Good
the audience there,
question. All
because I
right.
know a
Well,
lot.
in the last week, I have had surgery. Ready? For all listening, sorry, you won't be able to see the visuals,
Listening
but
that the leg is in the air.
the leg is in the air. The knee is currently in a hinge brace or a range of motion brace. A good lot of bandaging around my knee. For the last 16 years, I have had a very loose kneecap that likes to dislocate off nothing. So end of last year, I dislocated it just by bumping it on a chair and couldn't get it back in. Ended up going to hospital. They found a high-grade partial tear of my medial patellofemoral ligament. So that's somewhere between 50% and 99% torn. That's a terrifying margin.
Wow.
So yeah, just on Monday last week, the surgeon went in, took a graft of my gracilis, or adductor gracilis, anchored it into my patella and my femur, and hopefully, fingers crossed, no more knee dislocations once I recover.
Fantastic. So you're going to throw out the wheelchair
Yeah,
and you're going to
exactly.
be a new person.
I'm going to have a bionic leg and, unstoppable.
That's it. Right. And so it's been a big week for you, but obviously in really good spirits, which is great to see a week post-surgery. And you mentioned dislocation, sports growing up. Was this a congenital thing? Did this something happen during sports? What sports did you like to play? We just want the audience to know a little bit more about you, Jessie, and your background there, and how did this reoccurring dislocation continue to occur?
Yeah,
What
well, I
happened?
was
Yeah.
always a very active kid. I love being outdoors. I love being at the beach. I love running and playing. So I did every sport I could. Not that I was great at all the sports, but I just love
You
being
gave it a go.
active. Exactly. Which is funny because I went on a family ski holiday and my brother said, "Oh, I bet you could do a ski jump." And so I gave it a go. And I could not. I hit the ground pretty hard and that was the first dislocation. So I think I was, yeah.
The ski trip, no surprise there.
Yeah, so that was the first one, and then it happened pretty quickly after that, just bumping it on chairs. Even my husband now, when we were dating in high school, he was the one who accidentally just rested on my leg in a wrong way and popped it out just by
He
that.
swept you off your feet, but in a literal sense, by
Exactly,
dislocating
not
your
like
knee.
that.
Right. So, ski incident. Can I ask
Yes.
where were you skiing at? That sounds, if you're bringing me back,
What's
I'll bring the
the
audience back.
place in New Zealand? Cardrona, just
Oh,
near
wow.
Queenstown,
I
I
haven't
think it
been.
is,
Oh,
or
yeah. Yep.
Wanaka. Yeah.
Okay. That rings a bell. I was in there. I was at Queenstown only a month ago for a business
Oh,
leadership conference, but
oh, great.
there was no skiing to be had,
Shame.
unfortunately. I know. I'll have to think about it next time. But great. So you got your knee, getting your knee sorted. You mentioned sports growing up. Did any of that lead into wanting you to be an exercise physiologist? Can you give the audience a bit of a idea of how that came about, where you said, "Hey, I want to be an exercise physiologist. This is the career path I want to take." And then how did it come to being community? Take us
Yeah.
through that journey.
So I guess even though I said I tried any and all sports, I really enjoyed dancing. So I started doing dance classes when I was 10, doing jazz, ballet, and later just expanded into all different styles. So I guess I really enjoyed, again, being physically active, and then
Yeah.
I guess having a bit more of a structured approach to physical activity through dancing, and understand how to stay strong and how to get flexible and how to get my body to hit those marks and hit those dance positions. That probably was the early formation, but my mum, my dad and my grandma are all physios, so it's in
Yes,
the
that's
blood.
right. It is. I remember we did a ride along day. You took me out to your few clients. I remember we passed a few cows out into the middle of nowhere at the back of
Yes.
Moreton Bay there at one point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had to double check if it was a session or there was you're gonna throw me
I've
off the
gone
cliff here.
rogue.
Yeah, you've gone rogue. Sure, do we need a new CEO here? But that was great, Dane. I remember you telling me about your family history with physiotherapy. So being exposed to allied health,
Yep,
phenomenal. I mean, they would have been
absolutely.
early sort of pioneers in the space too,
Yeah,
which
yes.
is
They
great.
graduated, well, I guess my grandma, she tells me that she went through the polio epidemic as a physio.
Okay,
So
wow. Well,
that's some very
would have kept her
interesting.
busy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then my parents going through physio, they like to share a lot of their education, their experience with me,
Mm.
obviously age
Yeah,
appropriate. My dad
yeah.
actually enrolled me so he worked at the Children's Hospital in Brisbane, and he had some of his staff were doing research on children's developmental delays, so children with all sorts of disabilities, and they
Wow,
needed
yeah.
a control. So I was enrolled as the control.
Wow, nice.
So
Okay.
dad had me doing all sorts of biomechanics. As this 6-year-old in grade 1 being hooked up to all the
Wow,
machinery, and I got to
great.
run and jump and do different tasks. And I remember really clearly one of the tasks was I was put in a room with this child who had a disability. I'm not sure, but we were given this outline of a clown uh, drawing put down in front of us, and all the adults left, closed the room, and we were kind of just left to our own devices. There were all these craft things set up around the clown picture, and they were trying to see, I guess, if we would engage and start doing art together. Could I lead this other child, or would I learn something from that child teaching me something? But instead, again, I went a bit rogue, and my dad told me that I told the other kid that there's definitely some hidden cameras in this room and we should go looking. So we spent, I don't know how long it was, 30 minutes probably. I just remember looking through this
Wow.
whole room for secret cameras. Meanwhile, there's obviously that big mirror in the middle of the
Oh, the
room
old
that they're
mirror.
all
Yes, the old one-way
staring through,
mirror.
but
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
work that one out. So we just had the greatest
Wow.
time doing
Yep.
not art, but playing around together.
Everything but.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess that did
Wow.
really start my interest in working in this space, the biomechanics, development,
Space. Yeah.
particularly disabilities as well. With my dad working in the hospital, he would really share a lot of those positive experiences with us as kids.
So exposed to certain aspects of healthcare, hospital, testing,
Yeah.
laboratories,
Yeah.
experiments, all sorts of wonderful things. So when did you know then that you wanted to be an exercise physiologist, and how did that sort of come about specifically as a career point for you?
I guess I always from that point said I wanted to be a physio. I didn't know EP was a thing that I could go into.
Hmm.
So after I graduated, or coming up to graduation at high school,
Yeah.
obviously the physio OP, I had OP back in my days. It was
Oh, we
OP1,
had OP too, don't
the
worry.
highest OP
I won't say mine
score.
out loud.
Yeah, we'll keep ours both
I had to
secret.
work
But
very hard to work my way through into the
yes,
Masters for Physio program.
yeah,
Um,
there's a way to do it,
okay,
but it's just
there is.
so competitive that
Mm.
so many people want to do it. So to really narrow it down, at least when I was getting into uni, it was OP1 and they'd filled the whole course, starting with that.
There is a reason behind that, and not necessarily a lot of people want to do it, although they do. But what happens is that the brightest or the smartest, academic wise, if you're going to say, they put medicine as one, physio as two, was what they're told to do. And then when they get into, well, most of them can't get into medicine simply because there's not enough spots and a lot of OP1s, and it's just too hard that they get into their second option. And then they usually study physio for 1 or 2 years and then get accepted or complete the degree and get accepted. I know at Bonn University, they're really trying to, that's where the master's program worked quite well because you did a bachelor's, it showed that you were committed and then you're applying for a master's. So it was unlikely you're not just here to try and go down the medical route, but I think they've got that at Bonn still, but they've scrapped it at Griffith and gone back to
Okay.
bachelor's. Maybe it's a business
Okay.
decision, I think. But
Yeah.
in a whole, that's, yeah, it's very hard because of health.
All
They put that in their top preferences.
Everyone knew that as soon as you got through the first year of uni doing human movements or something else related in the allied health field, but if you wanted to go to physio, you could most likely get in the second year as long as you had your credits and whatnot from
Yeah.
first year. But I just happened to love it straight off.
Oh, great. Okay.
So
Yeah.
I continued with it. I actually changed from, I was just doing the 3-year human movements exercise science course for the first year, thinking that I'd go into physio.
Yeah.
But no, I decided to change to clinical exercise physiology and do the
Fantastic.
extra year on top to be able to
Yeah.
work hospitals and private clinics and have that
Yeah.
deeper physiological understanding of how to use exercise as medicine.
Fantastic. I've got my bachelor's in exercise science, so I've got a good understanding of what you're talking about now. But just for the audience or listening who don't completely know, can you talk them through the difference between an accredited exercise physiologist and an exercise physiologist and without being credited, and what the difference is, and how do you become accredited, and how does that work?
Yeah, so accreditation requires me to do a certain amount of hours in 4 different aspects of clinical exercise physiology. So there is the healthy, normal population. I actually did mine with doing hydrotherapy with school-age kids who had cerebral palsy. So it wasn't exactly...
That was your healthy population?
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not sure how, that's why I put in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Healthy, normal population. I think it's more that we weren't there to help their cerebral palsy as such. It was more like secondary, well, our primary focus is to assist these children to meet their physical activity, I guess the guidelines for a healthy population, that 150 minutes of some sort of physical activity. Even though a lot of them were wheelchair bound or prone to seizures, we were able to be there and safe and help them move in whatever way they wanted to, really. But I digress. The next one is
Other
cardiac,
areas? Yes. Yeah.
neurological, and then you're kind of
Metabolic?
given a bit of free rein. So yeah, metabolic is another big one
Yes.
as well.
So you had to get a certain amount of hours of practice signed off and exposure to those different demographics per se of clientele that you could be treating or working with in your scope as an EP.
Exactly.
Get accredited, and then what does that give you or
So
for next
you are
steps?
now an accredited clinical exercise physiologist, being you're able to work with that healthy, normal, again in quotation marks, population. So you can work at gyms, you could sign up as an instructor at F45, and that's great. Or you can go into hospitals as a clinical exercise physiologist and deal with those really complex health conditions, the ones that you've done your prac placement in. You can work in private clinics that specialise in these tricky conditions for people in the community, or
Yeah.
work with NDIS as well.
And also, you get a provider number, if I'm correct, which gives you the ability to work with DVA clients under the Medicare scheme, work cover, and a few different funding schemes. So it sort of open up your horizon and
Yeah.
scope as a clinician
And then
to
an
work with.
exercise scientist, they don't do that final year of the cardiac, metabolic, neurological prac.
Yes,
They just
that's
do the
right.
healthy, normal prac on their final year.
Okay.
So they are able to work in gyms, they're able to set up their own clinical practices, but they are only required to, or only allowed to treat those healthy, normal populations. So a lot of them would work with high performance athletes
Right.
or go into those sporting teams to do some sort of assistant work.
A high performance coach or
Yep, high
supporting
performance
and
coach.
that. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay, great. I'm learning a few things right now
Oh,
as well,
good.
which is good. I thought, look, we're always here to learn, never stop growing and learning, but fantastic. So it's good to hear a different scope. Now, as a physio myself, we obviously love working with EPs. We have a great synergy in how we can work together to get great outcomes for our clients. Worked with EPs heaps in the past, obviously off the tools now and have been for a little while.
And you employ a lot
But
of EPs.
I employ a lot of EPs, physios, and the likes, which is great. That's our focus is to grow our teams and our caseloads and develop our people further. But it's also good to really understand, yeah, different disciplines, different actions, and then obviously a bit of personal history from yourself, Jesse. Great. So you've gone through your education, you've loved the clinical exercise physiologist route, becoming an accredited EP. Now, community. Probably shooting a few heads years ahead of that. I know you've worked in private practice and you've done a couple things there, but you found your way over to Gen Physio in late 2019, if I'm about
It
correct.
was just after COVID, actually. But funny story. So
Yes.
I did start with Gen Physio September 2020,
Right.
but late 2019, I didn't realize this, but when I went to apply for my role at Gen Physio in 2020, obviously you require a resume and a cover letter. So I did my resume and I opened up my template cover letter and it was already addressed to Gen Physio. And I'd completely forgotten that the year before, end of 2019, I had seen a job pop up and I intended to apply, but ended up having a change of
Wow.
circumstance at my current job, so didn't end up applying. Completely forgot about it. So when I saw
Wow.
my cover letter was already addressed to Gen Physio, it felt like this is a sign, you know, this job's meant to
Merit.
be.
Yes, that's it. I don't even know if the serendipity is the right word. I can't remember, but it's that's fantastic. So it has meant to be, and you haven't looked back, hopefully, and from what I gather, which is great. So that's a good. You're a great advocate of what we're trying to do here, and you've always helped to build up what we're trying to achieve, which is great. So community though, so wanting to be part of our movement in being leaders in home health. What attracted you to community or us in particular? Is there anything that you thought, or is it just a, hey, I'd love to try something different, get out of four walls or a gym, get out on the road? Well, I'm not sure what I'm signing up for, but these guys seem like, they'll be a great shot at something different.
A bit of column A and a bit of column B there. So I had already started up as a sole provider back in 2019 as a way to just boost my income and
That's right, yes.
previously before working at Gen Physio, I actually wasn't working as an EP at my permanent job. I was a respiratory scientist.
Okay.
But I really wanted to get back into EP. I knew that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to do long term again. So as soon as I heard about NDIS and I kind of got a bit of a referral, a bit of a referral chain going and people were hearing about me as an EP. So I decided, okay, I'll do 1 day a week doing my own mobile community EP work. So that was my Friday each week. I loved it. I knew it suited me, getting out and about. I love the people that I get to meet. I love getting outside. Like you
Yeah.
said, being outside of the four walls. I don't want to sit in an air-conditioned office, as lovely and luxurious as it is. I love to be outside and in the sun. I love in summer getting to jump in a pool and call it work.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love,
Great
just
benefit.
driving around and seeing different parts of the community as well. It certainly fills my cup, community work.
Fantastic. So you recognise that you got a bit of a taste of it operating as a sole trader there and realising that I'd love to do more of this, and Gen Physio
Recognizing
was
I'm
an
not a
option.
business person either. Is that I love
Okay.
to do the work, but I don't want to do the
Counting the
business.
pennies and invoicing. You want to stay up till midnight
Yeah,
on a Friday night to close out the week.
yeah.
Uh, So yeah, Gen Physio started too, but
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
Exactly. I remember it was like a Friday night at 10:30 at night, and all my friends had come over to hang out in the lounge room, and I was just sitting in my bedroom doing some invoicing, and oh, it's I mean, it's rewarding, but I just recognized, no, I think I want to work for someone else who can do the business side. I want to do the actual feet on the ground work.
Fantastic. Good. Well, I'm with you on that one. Definitely great to have a good team. Our support office team works very hard here to try and support our clinicians out on the road, and we're doing some pretty cool things at the moment to even take that to another level as well. That is an AI, although AI is out there now. Have you personally, just on the topic of AI, have you tried AI with our new system yet? Have you
Yeah.
seen any benefits? Is there something you like or don't like? For the
I
audience
was
would be keen
very
to.
much within at least the EP discipline. And when we would
Mhm.
discuss it at our clinical supervision meetings, I was the advocate for using it. I found it so useful to have
Good.
the AI going on my laptop, recording with the consent of the client, just say, can I use the AI to
Yeah.
transcribe our session? And it writes out a clinical note for me. It's been so much easier to get accurate information, get it done straight away,
Yeah.
effectively, thoroughly. And I also wrote up a bit of a EP specific template for the initial notes as well and trialed that with the EP team. So that even initials for at least the EPs are easier for us to write out with the help of AI. It's
Fantastic.
not perfect. It
I heard
does
it's got
obviously need a
improvement
human
to,
touch to it
yeah, of
and
course.
read through. You can't just click a button and save it immediately. It does require a bit of editing, but to do the bulk of the work, and then I come in with my clinical knowledge and my specifics and I add it there. I've found it really useful to do that.
You know what they're saying as well with AI? It's not just about the time saving, but even if it took you the same amount of time after you've done the edits, what they're saying is it's the mental load and the effort that's required to complete the same task, not just the time. So if you used AI to get you 80% of the way there, then you
Yep.
spend part of it trying to put your personal touch to it and your clinical knowledge. It's the mental load of the first 80% is not there. Obviously, I'm live and breathe AI, and I can't believe I didn't use it more than 6 months ago. But obviously, we encourage it here in the support office team with our ChatGPT licenses, and we're really trying to figure out that space. But on a clinical side, with our CRM, yeah, that's been some find it very useful, some less so. But perhaps as the program continues to improve, it's just rapidly changing so fast that world that it might become even more efficient and
Yeah,
suitable for everyone.
absolutely. And I know there are a lot of people out there who are rightly so concerned about how it's going to be used as well, and we just don't know what the future can bring. But yeah, right now it's very helpful.
Yeah, and look, I don't think it's going to replace any one of us, but what it might do is how we treat or interact with clients will change and adapt based on AI. But yeah, very interesting to see what's happening in that space. So great. So talking about AI tools, put that aside. I'm passionate EP in the community. You're in now, grown into a leadership position, done some wonderful things with your team, got great performance, got great connectivity. Can you maybe share about what you love most about being in a leadership position here at Gen
Ooh.
Physio?
Well,
And
again,
if there's any standout moments for you that you've quite liked or enjoyed or got some wins on the board as a team manager.
yeah, absolutely. Again, I love the people. And I've always said that Gen Physio hires just the nicest, kindest, approachable people. People who work within the community. They're just, they just feel like my people. They're a
Right.
great crew to be around. But as for a standout moment, I guess there's not ever just one moment. Of course, there are wins, there are highs, and there are pits and low times, and you just
Mhm.
take it all as you
Of
go.
course.
But I think it's that each year coming up to my work anniversary, it really makes me think back and reflect and think how grateful I am to be, almost 5 years in now and
Mm.
meeting so many great people, learning so much. Yeah, and particularly my team in Moreton Bay and previously Sunny Coast. I love being able to learn more about all the other disciplines. Of course, within our multidisciplinary team as a clinician, I was learning. But I guess as a manager in a leadership position, it's completely different. Learning how they manage their diaries, what their workload looks like with their clients, what are the main referrals they get as well. Sometimes completely different to what EP would be thinking about and focusing on. So yeah, I really, I guess, love being challenged to learn more. And that's what, again, going into a leadership position was that next step to learning not just about my discipline, but all the other allied health professionals that I work closely with.
Look, people is absolutely what we're in the business for, people helping people here, really. So it's really important to have that desire to connect and lead other people. And obviously, you've got a great energy about you, Jessie, and, grown over time in yourself as a leader and as an individual. So that's great. And you've obviously had some positive influence across multiple team members,
Would
which is
hope
great to see.
so. Again,
Fingers
never
crossed, hey?
hired a bad person. Never one.
Well, we try and at the front door, which is recruitment and people and culture, where I reckon got that locked down harder than ever before on who we bring in, and we're going to continue with that. But that's great. So good to hear. Just moving along, because I know time is now of an essence as well, and I've got some really great backgrounds from you, Jessie, and I feel like we could probably be here for another hour, but just in the interest of time and what we might do is just jump forward to quick fire round. So I'm just going to ask a
Yes.
few questions
I'm
and
excited
really
for a
interested
quick fire round.
that's it. We're going to see what you come up with, learn a little bit
All
more
right.
about you as a clinician behind the wheel. All right. Go to lunch on the road. What would you
Cans of
say that
tuna.
would be? Cans of tuna. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a true EP then.
Yeah, a little protein,
Protein only.
easy. Yeah.
I love that. Okay. Coffee order.
Well, it's never the same. So actually, Beck, our dietitian, has advised me today that pumpkin spice lattes are back at Starbucks for their seasonal menu in September. So that will be my coffee order this month, but it's bound to change come October.
Oh, wow. There you go. That's a new one. Best Spotify playlist or podcast while driving?
Hands down, Armchair Expert podcast. It is number one for me. I love it.
Armchair expert. Okay.
Yes, with Dax
Just for the
Shepherd.
audience, what's that about? Just high level, just quickly.
Dax Shepherd, who is Kristen Bell's husband, he interviews celebrities and experts within their field and gets a background on who they are and what they love to do in their lives.
Okay, armchair expert. And Christopher, is that the Frozen
Yeah,
girl?
yep.
Ah, yeah, she's good. There you go. Okay, all right. I'll have to put that one, save that one
Yeah.
as a favorite on the list. Phrase you often say or in the car.
I know
What do you-
immediately. And bet you my phone's going to go off. So I go, hey Siri, find me the directions to the nearest bathroom.
That's a good one. I like that. You've got to have that. You've got to know your hot spots. If not,
Yep.
Siri will help you. Love it.
Exactly.
And dream road trip destination. As a community mobile clinician here at Gen Physio, you're in the car, but if you could go further, take the work hat off, where would a road trip go for you?
Well, actually, I'm living the dream because I'm going road tripping through Spain and Portugal at the end of this year with my
Jeez.
entire family.
Wow.
We should make
How
our
long are
own
you going for?
podcast a month.
Yeah, you could do a
So-
podcast on that trip alone.
Yeah,
There's like 30
that
episodes.
would be something to listen into.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
can hear
that's always
Jessie's
been something
travelling.
I wanted to do.
Stories.
I'm going to have
Okay.
to workshop that title.
That's it, yeah. AI can help.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
fantastic. All right. So a bit of a European holiday at the end of the year. It'll be cold.
Yeah, yes, especially up north of Spain, yeah. But
Wow,
I guess
okay.
we've got to balance the road tripping with the wine drinking.
Okay.
Can't drink and drive, but want
No,
to enjoy
but that's
all
all right.
of Spain's wine regions.
Maybe a bus tour, or
Yeah,
you'll
I
have a
think so.
designated driver. You'll get a bicycle. You'll think
Yeah.
of that. That sounds amazing. Yeah. Are you
Actually,
red wine or white wine?
Red wine.
Yeah, red. Yeah, good.
Actually,
Yeah, wine.
My husband just found a horse riding tour where you go along all the vineyards and I guess cellar doors.
Nice,
So
that'll be fun.
nothing against drink riding, hopefully.
Yeah. Legal at a certain speed.
Yeah, very
Great. All
slow.
right. So fantastic. Just to close out, if you were to give some advice to someone starting in the community for the first time as a clinician, new grad or experienced, what it would be a takeaway that you'd give them as a tip for starting in the community?
I don't know if this is particularly poignant or helpful for everyone, but personally, as a new grad, I know I would stress out so much about trying to make sure each client hit their goals in the exact time frame they wanted and that we agreed upon in the initial. And I think with experience and time, of course, I've learnt to be a bit more relaxed and flexible, adapt to the bumps in the road that comes up. Life always throws us curveballs.
Yes. True. Raise the
Again,
leg.
people listening, raise the leg with the brace. So really, my advice would be just be there to support your clients, not take all the responsibility onto your own shoulders.
Mm.
Really, it's their journey and you're there to support them as best you can. And it makes the groundwork towards that goal feel so much more enjoyable for everyone.
So more about the destination is the journey and enjoying the journey. If I said that correctly. The journey
I'm
is the
not sure.
destination. Yeah, so
Enjoy the
enjoying,
journey. I don't know,
yeah,
something about journey and destination. Enjoy the journey.
enjoying the journey, and that's actually the best part. You might not realize it at the time, but it's taking, learning, moving with the changes that happen, the challenges, being flexible, and being able to just pivot and go that's actually the part of getting somebody to improve and achieve their health goals rather than not being satisfied until and only until they hit that and taking that stress and burden along. I like that, especially as a new grad. I know they have big goals and ambitions. They come in with great energy and new skill sets to really make positive change. But to know that not every client is going to feel or have that massive impact from day one or day two or session five. But it's the slow and steady positive movement in the right direction over time is where the benefit will really be made. And you might have setbacks, but it's also okay. So
Exactly.
if I'm just
Spot on.
interpreting that a little bit more, but look, great to have you on the podcast, Jessie. I really appreciate, love the energy you're bringing. Great story. I know you're a passionate people person, leader, and exercise physiologist. So it's really good to get a bit of a background story, and I'm sure
Thank you
we could
very much.
do something like this again, but maybe bring a physio in and we can talk about
Yeah, that
different
would be
client
fun.
stories or an EP supporters. I don't know, but we'll see where this podcast goes. It's only young, but
Yep.
have a great rest of your day. Thank you all for chiming in and listening, and bye for now.
Bye. Thank you.